Hey, yo, it's your boy Shane here. By myself, like it's usually Hugh by himself. I just leave him to lurch. But, your man had a fight last night on the 1774 Muay Thai promotion from there and had a great solid fight against Jamie Arm from PTJ, and he took away the win. So, remember if you see him, congratulate him. He told me he had a lot of trouble walking today, so that's why he's not here. You can probably see him for myself. Which way is it? Yeah, this way, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I fucked up myself during jiu-jitsu. Someone just threw a stray elbow in my face. They thought it was the MMA or something. My eye blew up like a motherfucker. But other than that, for me, I am not by myself. I do have a guest today from that one. So he's a veteran of Roots and Rebellion Muay Thai promotions. He was recently on the Prince 8-Man, which we'll just talk about as well. And the man himself is Sarmad Jahanara. How are you today?
You got it now. You got it now.
Got it, yes.
Weeks working.
Oh man, I was watching a few of your fights and I was just listening to the commentators and people in the background. I go, how are we saying this? Okay. Right.
Man, I dare say, I don't think anyone said it right yet. It's like a little joke we got going on between all my mates. Anytime they're there or they're tuning in from live streams or whatever at home, they just have a crack what they're gonna say next, how they're gonna pronounce it next.
Well, I guess it's you just try your best, but it's just kind of getting the tongue to work in the right way.
And man, if you throw the attempt out there, I'm a happy guy.
Awesome.
Points for trying. That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so when everyone comes onto this podcast the first time, we want to know your background. So lead us into how you got into martial arts, wherever you started, whatever age, and and just going into how did you got into competing, and just go on from there.
Man, it's a funny story how I got into it. I used to be pretty chubby, pretty unathletic, unfit. Probably the most of the cases and people when they start training. But I was at the gym and I had a mate and he was like, "There's this place down the road offering a free trial. I'm going to go down. Do you want to come down with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man, I'll go down with you." Went down, but he didn't rock up. He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there sometime in the week." Anyways, there was a guy there, I'm mates with him now. He aggressively signed me up. And I'm like, "Oh, shit, whatever." I'll sign up. And I ended up just going for the love. I had a few mates, we all started. The first mate who originally said come down, never ended up coming. And yeah, trained for a bit. And my coach is Mem Chehan, been big on the kickboxing scene, good record, amassed a good record, well known around Victoria. And he, I think about 6 months in, was like, "Hey, look, you're coming down a lot. Do you want to have a crack at a amateur fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be pretty cool." Because I had a few teammates jumping on Road to Rebellion and stuff. Anthony Kwok, I'll give him a shout out. But I just thought, I'm like, yeah, why not? Sounds sick. Started training up, dropped a heap of weight, got put into an amateur, and then I think the day before, the opponent pulled out and they're like, "Look, you're pretty heavy, we can't find you many other people. We got one guy who's a pretty decent boxer. He's 5 kilos lighter than you. He reckons he'll fight." And I was like, 5 kilos lighter than me? What an idiot. I'm gonna flog him. The ring with him. Haven't had much boxing experience at this stage, and this guy absolutely gave it to me, belted me for 3 rounds. The doctor tried to stop it, but Mem was like, "Nah, fuck off." I was like, "Nah, I can." Just winded, battered. I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. But yeah, ended up losing that one. I had it was fully glamorous. I had all my family, everyone come down. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight, guys." Got belted in front of them all, and then from there, it sort of lit a spark. I'm like, "Well, what's it feel like to win? I really want to have a win." And then I was like, "Yeah, chuck me in again." He was a little bit apprehensive because he obviously just threw me to the wolves, not knowing. This guy actually went on to the Commonwealth team for boxing. Pretty good. Yeah, threw me in again, and then I won, and then I got a taste of winning, and then I went on again, and then there was a good culture back where I was. This was a gym called Extreme MMA. Real good culture, lots of fighters, and other people were stepping up. So I was like, I'll just keep stepping up. Ended up moving, that gym closed down, ended up moving gyms. I stayed with Mem, but a lot of the fighters, like for whatever, like their own personal reasons, sort of dropped off. And then so the environment was sort of like dulling down. And then I was like, well, sort of not getting the same enjoyment. So one day I just messaged Mem. I was like, look, man, let's take it seriously. I'll take it serious. Like, I'll stop messing around. Anything you want me to do, just you say it and I'll do it. I'll shut up. Let's go. He's like, all right, you got to take it seriously. And then from there, like, I just, like, a switch sort of flicked. And then I used to be the laziest guy, man. Like, I'd rock up to training. We do like 500 sort of ab exercise for the night, and I'd probably only smash out like 200 and get away with it. But from there, like, he always finds a good level to push me at next. Like, he sees where I am and he gives me something ridiculous to do. And I'm like, shit, but all right, I'll do it. And then sort of like the opportunities came from there. Like, we never really turned down any fights. Was fortunate enough not really to be victim to injury either. So first fight was on Roots. Ended up winning that. Second fight on Hardcore Promotion. So my first 2 fights were Muay Thai. I'm originally Muay Thai guy. I love my Muay Thai. And then got offered a title fight for kickboxing title with Nasser Kassab over 5 rounds. Real close fight, real war. It was good. But I lost, which is actually how I edged myself into the 8-man eliminator. A few more fights since then. And I saw the 8-man eliminator. I was like, just take it up a notch. Why not? Like, some of the best in the world, either win or learn. Got a little bit of taste of both. So yeah, that's sort of the path that I went through.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So like, just bringing it back a little bit. So especially like, all the states in Australia, they have different systems of how they bring up into the pros, especially like Melbourne. So when you did start, like, did you have many like amateur, like, kind of stuff? Is it like the VAMA kind of system that they got there at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, VAMA system. So I had 8 amateur kickboxing fights, 1 amateur boxing, and 2 amateur MMA. So I had that, and then I'm like, just go for it. Like, Roots is really accommodating. It's sort of like the level is really like people not having any fights all the way to guys having like 10, 15 amateurs, which in the Muay Thai scene, especially in Victoria, isn't really like big. A lot of the amateur fights is like really based around like K1 kickboxing sort of stuff. Like, they don't really there's not a lot of mod Thai out there, and now there is.
It's like, thank God.
Pussies. Well, yeah, it's cool. Like, Sai, you guys are chatting to him. I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but he's got this sort of grassroots path for Muay Thai guys, and they're chucking on elbow pads. They can sling elbows, and I think it's sick. Like, if I had that coming up, I would have had like another 20, 30 amateurs, because it's really the thing for me. I just want to sling elbows. Like, nothing cooler.
Oh, nothing, definitely not. But like, yeah, Sai and Spring, Dominic and Jason, yeah, they all band together to make the Muay Thai Victoria now. Like,
That's the one, yeah.
This is like, and it's just that it's like the development days that we have here in New South Wales, and man, like, even just like helping run those here, I just know that now that Victoria has that, Melbourne, it's like it's gonna shoot your grassroots level so high, and it's gonna have so many great fighters come from that as well.
Yeah, and like, you see it like every show, you just see like a whole list of like fresh people. Like, Sai has like, I reckon on the Root show is about 20 to 30 fights. So there's a lot of guys coming up, and it's real good. Like, since COVID too, some of these new shows that are coming on, like, seen like a little bit of a shift where like all the old school guys and stuff are just now like giving it a rest. Like, like Roy Wills just the other at his last fight, that was sick. And it's like, you see a lot of these newer guys getting on the headliners. So it's good to see it like moving up the evolution.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see like the generational shift starting to happen again from there.
Yeah.
So going into like your pro career now from that one, like, let's talk a little bit about some of your Rebellion and Roots experiences. So like, I watched one fight one that you had against Matthew Eads. So you're fighting 85 kilos from there.
Yeah.
So like, how do you like, because like now you're doing like the kickboxing, but like if we're going back to like just in the Muay Thai stuff here, how did you find like what was your style like? What do you like to do when you like when you're in like a Muay Thai rule set?
So it's actually funny that fight. I had to fight like I looked like a boxer in that fight because about a month before that I'd fought NASA on a kickboxing show. I went into that show with my Muay Thai style, and after that, I like had to close up my guard, pop off more hands, and I actually fractured my foot. I was like hobbling around. Went and did my camp for rebellion in Thailand because I'm like, maybe the heat will help, and it did. It actually brought down a lot of like the swelling and everything from my leg. I had to box. I couldn't kick. With that foot, and I had this guy Noi from Singpatong. I pretty much told him like, look man, I can't kick you bad. He's like, okay, boxing, no worries. So I just boxed with him, did a lot of boxing, and then going into that fight, I just like I couldn't throw the foot. I couldn't throw that kick. I think like I threw it once on an inside leg kick, and it just like rattled up my whole body. I was like, no. So I went out like into that fight swinging, not as composed as I would like to be. I feel like all my fights past that have been more composed. But yeah, it was a lot of like bobbing, weaving, boxing, and I think in the end, like I ended up slipping under his punches and hitting him with an overhand, which won it for me. That was my last Muay Thai fight, and I really want to. I actually like the rhythm, like the style of Muay Thai. It's just like it's tricky, a lot of smarting, a lot of baiting. I mean, there's that in kickboxing too, but it's a little bit more fast paced, like pop, pop, pop. And I haven't had a chance to like I have all that stuff, and I haven't had a chance to put it to use since the Muay Thai fight. But I will. There's some talks, maybe down the line. I'm jumping back in.
Oh yeah, it's like just that it's like well going between Muay Thai and kickboxing at the moment. You're just doing the kickboxing because that's the more available options at the moment?
I think the opportunities at the moment, especially down here in Melbourne, are better for kickboxing. In that, like with Prince, for example, like the whole Prince promotions, that last show, like you probably not many people knew there was much kickboxing. Like everyone knows, like Melbourne's like yeah, kickboxing, but like no one probably from other states had tuned in to kickboxing in Victoria really. It's like back in the day, like Tarek's shows and all that. So I think that sort of puts some light in Victorian kickboxing, and he's just building it up, and you know he's just putting opportunities in front of me, and not going to say no to a good opportunity. So it's just whatever's being thrown at me at the moment. Like I don't find it would be too hard for me to switch back to Muay Thai. I think like a 6-week camp I can do that. So obviously, like if there's another good opportunity for Muay Thai, I'll jump back in. But at the moment, everything that's lining up is looking good for K1.
Nice, good. So let's just keep vibing on that for a little bit. So talking about Prince, talking about kickboxing. So you just recently you participated in that 8-man tournament they had, which was a bang tournament. Absolutely loved it. You came against Cody, won against him, and then you went against Charlie Bubb, the eventual winner, putting up a really solid effort with like basically one eye. But going into that, like so you get the offer to do it. Like you said, from you got your foot in the door from fighting Nasser Kassab. And how do you approach like doing something like that? That you go, oh, okay, this is really unique opportunity that I've probably never trained for. How do you and your coach? How did you prep for it?
It's actually like it was the biggest like overarching thing for me in that camp is that like what am I meant to do to train? Like how much is enough and how much is too much and how much is too little. And I'm lucky in a way where, man, I don't know like how calculated he is with like what he's putting me through in the camp, but it was pretty grueling. Like I do like maybe about 15 3-minute rounds, like straight. gives me like, sometimes I'm fortunate to get like 10 seconds rest in between the pads. And it was just based off a lot of endurance, like to be able to endure and sort of going in there. Like I knew that I'd be the underdog, obviously, probably the least experienced out of everyone. So I'd have to secure a knockout. Funny enough, like I didn't get one. Like I just went the full 3 rounds, still managed to get the win against Cody. It was real tough. And besides that, I had Marcus Burke, who's one of my training partners, longtime training partners, and we push each other. Like we do 10 rounds pads, 10 rounds sparring, 10 rounds bag. And I feel like my gas tank and just my endurance and probably a lot of my strength and conditioning stuff really made me feel good about going in there. Skill wise, like I'm not like, I had no idea how to approach it. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just more about keeping my guard tight, keeping like everything tight. Some of these guys like Jaden and Charlie, like hard, strong head kicks, and like watching, like going over the tape, I was just so adamant on like keeping the guard nice and clean, nice and tight, and not getting caught.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to tackle because you can't really prep for a specific opponent because you don't know what you're going to get. It's all drawn.
Yeah.
But I guess like in terms of like let's talk about your first fight on there. It was the ideal situation. Would you say it's like, because like, the guys would like probably like, in terms of everyone else's experience, like you go, well, similar experiences. So this is a good starting from there.
I feel like Cody was sort of like, and this is an insult, Cody, if you watch this, man, mid-bottom, because you got like Charlie, Jaden, Badado, probably on top. And then Barber, like also up there. And then you got like me, Nasser, Guy, and Cody. Nasser I'd fought before. I'd be pretty confident fighting him again. Guy I didn't really know much about, but I'm fighting him soon anyways, August 7th. And then Cody, I knew nothing about, but I just knew he had like more experience. Probably out of like us 4 like least experienced guys, he had like the most experience. So I was like sort of relieved. I actually wanted Charlie in the first round.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like rip the Band-Aid off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
If I get through Charlie, like, for morale, that's good. And I would have had a better chance at him with an eye and a leg than not. But like, look, I was pretty happy. I didn't really know what to expect because I hadn't really looked much into Cody. Like he sort of came in towards the end, and I was like, look, I don't want to build anything in my head, try and develop a game plan for someone, get someone else, and then everything gets thrown off. So yeah.
Yeah. And like it ended up being a really cracker fight. Like, like talking before, like, it was like, your punching style against like Cody's like a little bit more kick-based style from that. And like, yeah, and like it was just one of those close fights as well. Like at the end of it, like before the decision draw, I'm going, I can swing either way here. I wouldn't be mad at either decision.
I felt that going into the third, so like that's why I just like ran at him, tried to smother him, just because he's real. Like I'll give him props. When you pressure him, he is good at counter fighting off the rope. Like he kept throwing that knee up, which would have to make me reset for the new combo, which was good. But then coming to the third of the round, like third round, I was like, oh, whatever. Like I'll just go bomb. And I think that is maybe what edged it for me. But yeah, real tight, real good fight. Gone back and watched it. Would have been a good one. I think I think all the first rounders were pretty damn good.
It was a pretty bombastic start from everybody.
Yeah. Got a knockout at the start. I think I haven't watched Barb and Barber, but I heard that one was a cracker fight. So
yeah, that was a good fight. I remember that.
Yeah.
So like let's going into the second fight. Like so, you had the first fight from there. What was going on between that and the fight? Like you just go, oh, I think my eyes pretty smashed. Like my shins might be sore. Just the usual fight shit. But you go, but I gotta have another one now.
Yeah. It's so funny because like anytime after my fight, like I just turned into the biggest girl. Like, I'm like, my shins. Like, I just want to sit down. Everyone's like, let's go have a drink. And I'm like, yeah, let's go sit down like somewhere quiet and have a drink or whatever. Like, my legs are battered. But going into this, like, I couldn't, like, I don't know, like, if somewhere in my brain, it's just like, look, you can't realize how much pain you're in, like, just going. So going back into the room, like, everyone, like, my corner was like, yeah, we're sore. What do we need to tell us? Like, we'll fix you up. There was a little cut on the eye as well as the swelling. So they had to try to close that up. And I couldn't feel how bad, like, the damage was to the leg yet on the left side. Leg got kicked as well, like my right leg. And I was all the ice on the right leg, eye and right leg. So we completely ignored the left leg. And then as I was walking out, I'm like, oh, hold on, what's this? felt like my leg was like pretty like locked in. And then, yeah, Charlie just started hacking it at first round. I realized, I was like, fuck, we didn't ice the leg. But I think all the attention was really on my eye anyways. Just trying to like close that up. And I was like, my mentality was sort of like kill or be killed. Like, look, you don't have all your tools. Just go in there and throw and hope for the best.
Well, yeah, it's really it, isn't it, on that kind of stuff. But it's like, if you look back at it now, and if you had another opportunity to do the same thing again, would you approach anything differently?
So much, much differently. I reckon the Cody fight, I was a little bit too, I think the whole thing going into it, and I think some of the other guys would have had the same experience, in that, like, you want to get your fights out of the way. And if you don't, you've just had a war. Do you know what I mean? Like, first fight, like, I went in there, like, throwing everything, throwing hard, trying to put him out. And I didn't. I ended up getting clipped a little bit too much. Like that, he got me with a teep, right? Like the last 30 seconds, I was like, all right, cool. I think I've done enough. Now I'll just like return all his shots, like point for point to the end of the round, whatever. Like, I'm not going to put him out in the last 30 seconds. I chew it out and then bang, straight in the eye. So I probably would have gone in a little bit more like cautiously. I think Charlie and Jaden, who got to the final, I saw Jaden's fight, like, took that approach, like, didn't take any unnecessary risks, like, weren't really trying to knock anyone out, just rack up the points. So I'd probably go into it like that. I mean, I felt good about my gas tank. I just trust my gas tank, try to save the legs a little bit more. And yeah, like, I'd definitely love to fight Charlie again. I just definitely love to. He probably thinks I'm some psycho just throwing my right hand at him. But I reckon it'd be a fun chess match. Like, I do like the technical aspect.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, you just get like that pool of guys just sit there. Like, you can just keep rotating, fighting each other. It's like, there's just so much you can do about.
It's sort of like the way that it's going down though. Like, Jaden just fought Guy. I'm fighting Guy. Cody wants a rematch. I don't like. Might fight. I bumped into Jaden in Queensland. I was like, yeah, we'll fight somewhere down the line if you want, man. So yeah, I just feel like the act is just gonna like keep stumbling across each other.
Oh yeah, but most definitely, man. Like, let's talk about some of the other fights you got to come up. So you're coming down to Sydney soon. That way, and you're gonna be fighting Charles Joyner. I'm pretty sure.
Charles Joyner, yeah, that's the guy.
We talked about him before, like just before podcast. Fucking tall dude. He's a really tall dude.
Yeah, probably the tallest person I'll ever fight. I don't know if they'll be taller than him.
I remember, like, because we did the development days down here, and I had one guy fought him. Like, I never met him before, but it said, like, I'm just going, holy shit, look at this dude. He said, like, I'm just a short man myself, and I'm just going, man, he's like two of me. It's like on top of each other. And he's
6'8" on paper.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that as well, man. That one. But like, yeah, it's like, it's like, which show's that on? Showtime, is it?
Showtime promotion.
Yeah, so Shardy's promotion. Shout out to Shardy from that.
Yeah,
like,
thanks for having me.
Right, yeah, it's like, it's like, did they tell you, like, they saw a bit of tape on you or something like that? And hey, man, you want this opportunity to come down to Sydney and have a go?
apparently he's having trouble getting matched up.
Hmm.
Like fair enough. Like if there's not many people in that, and because that's a small weight category, like cruiserweight, there's not too many cruiserweights and not too many that are that tall. So he's having trouble getting matched up. He reached out to Mem and just said, "Look, would your boy want to come down?" We're like, "Yeah, cool." And he was pretty excited at the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, was very accommodating, getting us down.
Yeah, definitely, man. And then like after that as well, and like you said, you're fighting Gold Comet, and you're back on Prince Promotions again as well.
Yeah, back on Prince. I've actually signed a 3-fight contract with Prince, which is really good. Like that's the sort of opportunities I was talking about a bit earlier. Like,
yep.
He's obviously going to keep building each show. He's fighting Bradford next up, so that'll be pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's like there's enough progress for that.
That's a bit of a David and Goliath situation too. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's coming up, and then he's got bigger plans for. I think he's having maybe another show next year, so chuck something big onto that. But yeah, fighting Guy Coleman, that should be good.
Yeah, and another tall fellow.
Tall southpaw, 2 tall southpaws in a row.
Weird. Yeah, well, at least you get plenty of practice at it. So.
All southpaws come at me.
Have you fought many southpaws before that? Before this?
No, I don't think any like pure southpaws. I've fought a few guys who switch, like Charlie switches, Matthew Weed, he switches, Cody switches. Yeah, like I fought a lot of guys who switch, and usually I'm all right. Like I got one training partner who, like we've been training since the like start, right at the start. Dylan, I'll give you a shout out. And he's probably the most technically gifted guy I know who refuses to fight. So we'll have wars like while sparring, and it's just a technical battle. He's a southpaw, so I'm always like we just keep edging above each other. Who's going to figure who out? So I've had that experience like sparring a southpaw. I remember at one point at the gym, like 5 southpaws and like 3 orthodox in the fight team. So, like I'd have to get used to it. But I feel pretty comfortable. Like I can switch myself too. So it's fun. It's different. It's good to add it onto the resume too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's a pretty useful training partner as well. Just having like a good, there's nothing like having a good southpaw in the gym. Because it's just like you just never know. It's like if you have enough fights, you will come against a fair few southpaws at some point.
Yeah. Better to like get it out of the way early than to go down the line and boom, Senshai staring at you, and you're like, oh.
Definitely. So before the podcast, you were just saying to me as well that you're going to a fight show tonight at the corner, and it's an MMA fight show from there. And you've had a few amateur MMA fights yourself. Do you see yourself making a transition one day down the line to MMA?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. The original plan before all this K1 kickboxing stuff was start transitioning now. And I had a few opportunities probably locked in, and then COVID came, smashed everything. And then going back, I was keen to start cross training again. The gym I was at actually closed down. So out in the east where I am, there's not really too much in terms of like MMA, like cross training, like a gym that really has it all. I've just started coaching at a gym that does like MMA, but I think now that focus has shifted to kickboxing. But I definitely do want to like switch to MMA. I love grappling, I love wrestling, and I love jiu-jitsu. It's obviously like I can't put too much time towards it now, like gearing up for some of these guys who like obviously can't take lightly. So I need all 7 days kickboxing. But I reckon towards the end of the year, I'll start putting some more grappling in. And I reckon next year I'll do the transition over to MMA.
Yeah. Do you find, do you have any kind of like I guess, hard goals for yourself that you want to do first before like making a good transition over to MMA, that you want to get out of kickboxing and Muay Thai first?
I definitely want to test myself against like top guys like I did in the 8-man. But I just want to show like I am competitive there. So like, and that's the way we're going as well. Like I'll start like whoever puts their name up in that like top tier, I'll definitely throw my name back and try and come on, try and like get a good repertoire of experienced guys, show I'm competitive. And I suppose like I can't say clock striking because to do that, you know, like I don't think you're ever going to clock a thing, but like hone the skill set to the best of my ability within my time frame before I move on. Do you know what I mean? Like I hate to be like a guy who has like one hand in each cookie jar trying to get good at, you know, each thing at a time. So yeah, definitely want to like do the best of my ability in striking and then transition over.
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely. Like when you make a transition to MMA, like what's usually how do you see the process happening? Is it amateur fights or you just get in there? Like I don't really know much about like, you know, what are the pathways for MMA to go to pros that are in Australia?
There's actually like heaps more now than ever before. Like I think there's like 2 amateur shows just in Victoria, Path to Hex and Demolition, which is joined up to the XFC. That's just in Victoria alone. Like you got Eternal popping shows in every state once a month, and Cameron O'Neill's just started up Proving Grounds as well. Then you got like Coastal Combat. There's so many amateur, like pro-am shows and amateur MMA shows now. Whereas like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was close to nothing. So you either like scrap together like a VAMA amateur, like in a ring or something, and then jump straight into pro, which is like what a lot of the guys had to do. Or now you can amass like a good amateur record and then jump in there. And they got like the have you heard of that? Not something I'd probably jump in, but they're sort of taking the Olympic approach to it, like set up a good federation for the sport, have like national, international comps. We're not international at the moment, time being, but yeah, national, international comps, and like eventually, I think they want to campaign for like the Olympics, which I think is awesome. But that's another development right there, which a lot of good guys have done. For me, I don't know if I'll go too much in the amateurs. It's the weight category that I'd probably choose would be middleweight, and there's not a large selection of amateur middleweights there. Plus, with like down the line, the kickboxing experience I'd have as well, it just shortens the pool as well. So I'm probably just going pro and make sure I work on my grappling a fair bit before I do it too.
But right, let's fix my mic. There we go. So yeah, like you're just like a little bit like more casual for yourself as well. But what do you like watching in terms of combat sports at the moment? Like anything that's kind of really grab your fancy? Do you just like to watch everything, or at the moment that you like to watch MMA, Muay Thai, anyone in particular?
To be honest, like the UFC has been on, and I haven't even been like, I've been like, oh, cool, these guys are fighting. Like, I do like the UFC, but it's just not really capturing me at the moment. I've been watching a lot of One. Love One's kickboxing division, like especially welterweights. Welters like Regan Ursel, Nicky Holskin,
Yep,
those guys, and a lot of the smaller dudes too in the Muay Thai and the 4 ounce is just amazing. Some of the most explosive striking in the world right now. I reckon more so One. Really loving One at the moment. One's kickboxing series. They just have such a large pool, and they promote it really well for kickboxing as well. Like you got like obviously like chance of Muay Thai and stuff, and it's great if you're a purist, but for a lot of like, you know, the general like fans, it doesn't like, you're not going to get involved in it unless like, you know what you're looking for. Yeah, more so that. I did watch not the previous UFC, but the one before that. And I mean, it was just like the whole main card, everyone got finished. That was the one with Usman Masvidal. That was probably the last UFC I actually watched.
Yeah. I find I probably liked UFC and MMA like a little bit more, like maybe 5 or so years more ago. But then I don't know, it just seemed like it just got oversaturated because so many events. Like, oh, I don't know these people. There's no one's getting built. It's just like, you know, just kind of like just flogging out content from there.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone back into it again now because it seems a little bit more exciting. There seems to be a lot more like build up of bigger stars and things like that. But like, yeah, but like you said, one is that's just premier for me, especially like when it comes to Muay Thai and kickboxing. It's just like the available content to watch. It's exciting and it's just generally just promoted better as well.
Promoted so well. And like, I don't know about you, but I don't buy into that. Like, you know, it's I'll kill you like you're a dog. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these, like the showmanship that the UFC guys are taking on board, where it's like it's personal, Conor McGregor style. I don't buy into that. And for me, it's not like, oh, these guys like really want to kill each other. This is going to be a sick fight. I look at like the last few performances someone's given, and I'm like, damn, that dude's a bad dude. And when they put that against another bad dude, doesn't matter what they say. I'm like, that dude's a bad dude. And in one, that's all you get. Nicky Holzken versus John Wayne Parr, for example, like Parr's into the end of his career. So I was a little bit like, oh, like Nicky sort of is starting to as well, sort of like he's past his prime, but he's still a little bit younger and more.
Well, wear and tear is like John Wayne Parr is like with the hip surgeries and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Still got then Nicky's still got a little bit of age on his side.
A little bit. But like against the top guys, like he lost twice to Regan Ursal. Obviously, because Ursal is like probably the baddest man in kickboxing right now, I would say. But yeah, he's sort of like starting to lose that competitive edge. But like that fight was like two legends. Like I just want to see how John would go, especially like no one's ever, you know, those rapid punches he throws. Yep. I just want to see how that would go against Nicky. All credit to Nicky. He's a beast. He's just, that switch kick was unreal.
Yeah, he's just got the resume to do it. You know, it's like we talked to Elliot Compton the other week from there. He just goes, look, I didn't go in the game plan to get fucking dropped.
Yeah.
Like, I knew like he has a killer punch, but he just goes, fuck me. Just says there was nothing I could do. Like when it got there, he goes, I was feeling good. And as soon as it hit me, he goes, it just robbed me. And that's like, it just shows you Nicky's just, you know, he's God tier pretty much.
Yeah. He's someone who's tied it all together so well. Like he's linked his boxing and his kicks together so well. He's got such a vast array of weapons to throw, like such a repertoire. Some of his spin kicks are unreal.
Yeah, they're on the money.
They're on the money. But it just goes to show, like, Regan Ursal is probably one of the guys, like, I watch the most. And I don't know about you, like, you'll pick a style and you'll be like, that's cool, I can add some of that into what I do. And his, like, measurement, forward pressure, and the knee is just so nice to watch. And it really puts into perspective how good he is, like, taking out Nicky twice.
Yeah, it's like, and especially with, like, I think, was it the first fight? Like he came really, it's like he came close to like really hurting Regan. Like
yeah,
was like there was I think it was a knee and there was a hook.
Yeah, knee or a body rip or something. I can't. Yeah.
It's like you can just still see it good. It was still there, but then like, you know, you go into the second fight, you see to get Regan, you gets, oh man, he just improved so much.
Yeah, steamrolled him in the second one. The first one was like pretty competitive.
And then you just take more. He just took more information and just ran with it. And goes, all right, I think I know what I'm up for here. Just don't get in too close.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what, like, I reckon that's what makes a good fighter. someone who takes in the information and applies it. Obviously, you can do it between rounds. You're going to go really far. If you do it between fights, that's how you're going to get to the top, I find.
Yeah, true. About with yourself, like, have you had many like rematches in any of your fights that you had to like go, oh, I've already fought him once, so I think I know what to implement this time around?
I haven't had the chance to. I really wanted to draw Nasser in the 8-man. Like when I fought him, where I fought him to where I was in the 8-man, you'd be looking at two completely different fighters. Like when I fought him the first time, I was sort of long on the outside. He's a Kyokushin karate kickboxer. So obviously like he's going to throw his spin kicks, his up kicks, head kicks. And like, whereas like you've seen, like I rely mostly on my boxing, like I throw my kicks out there too, but I played long and just sort of like was on the end of his kicks. And so I looked back on that and I didn't exactly at the time know how to approach that problem, like how to get around his kicks to get on the inside. And since working like and fighting, I've developed that. So I knew I would have won if we fought again. But didn't come to be. I'm sure we'll cross paths again down the line. He's an absolute gentleman. But yeah, definitely would love to. On the other side, like every guy like I've won against has requested a rematch, and I haven't had the chance like to fight them yet because like I'm always trying to like go up, improve, like take on the next challenge. And for me, like I definitely respect that someone's been beat, they want a rematch. Yeah, they want to test themselves. And I respect that, like give them a chance to. And sort of like helps for me to prove that like to solidify that performance for me. So I'm more than to take that on. But I suppose in the stage of my career, like I'm just trying to blitz out. I'm trying to get out there and I want to take on the next guy, the next guy, the next guy, the next bigger guy. So I haven't had too much of a chance to deal out rematches for guys I beat, but yeah, there definitely will be heaps down the line.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. All right, so we're approaching about the hour here from that one, so it's a good time to kind of wrap it off. And there's like, this has been a great talk. You're easy to talk to. You're the best type of guest.
We could just talk shit for hours.
Yeah, so good. That's what we love the most. So where can people catch you on Instagram and that, and any people you want to shout out, any sponsors or anything? So yeah, just your time. You say
awesome, mate. Plug my Instagram, Sarmad James. Feel free to give me a follow. Shout out to my coach, man. Always grinding with me. Thank you. Shout out to Marcus Burke helping me with all my training, and shout out to Prince developing the platform for K1. Thank you, Onward Sports, Onward Athletics. Real good gloves, guys. Get into them. And that's about it. You'll see me next up in Sydney, 3 weeks. See you guys from Sydney there.
Cool. Yeah, might have to make the trip out there and watch you.
Definitely do.
All right. So stick around. I'll play the outro, but stick around for a little bit from there. All right. Everyone else, remember, like, subscribe, share our shit. If you love us, you'll do it. Okay. Catch you next time. Peace.